Hey guys, how are you? If you don't know me yet, my name is Candy, and yeah, it's about damn time I do this video. And I thought, in light of the new year and just starting off fresh and everyone really wanting to jump into their fitness, I'll kind of share my story with how I lost weight this year and completely ditching the strict diets, not going to gym every single day, and just giving you some advice to kind of start your healthy lifestyle within the new year. I find that a lot of people always jump right into it, but go for like strict diets, like just broccoli and clean chicken, or probably just a few rice cakes a day, and try and go to gym every single day, and then 2 days they mess up and everything's out of the window. I also have a story to tell, so I'm gonna divide this video into a few chapters. You can always skip to the part that you find interesting, but I do feel it's important to also kind of share what I have been through and the struggles I have been through. Now, I do want to say that this video might be triggering for people who struggle with eating disorders or anything like that, or anything with regards to their body. I'm going to be very open and talk about my struggle, which I've never opened up about. So without further ado, let's jump straight into it. Now, if I do look at my phone, I just made a bunch of notes because I really don't want to miss out on giving you any detail. But I'm also going to try and make it as informative and short as possible. I don't know, I love talking, so maybe not that short, but hey. Okay, so first of all, I've always had a passion for fitness and I really enjoyed working out. It was always something I loved, but not as much that I would always look like a fitness model. I've always wanted to look like a fitness model, but I always struggled to commit to that type of lifestyle. With that also said, I do want to make it clear that everything I'm going to tell you today is literally just my experience and what I have gone through. And if it can help you in any way, then that's great, but do not take it up for like professional advice. It's always good to speak to someone who is professionally qualified or who can help you with any of these things. So this is completely my experience. I also would just like to say, I know that a lot of athletes who are like in fitness, they do follow strict diets like clean chicken and broccoli vibes, and that's great for them. I absolutely admire their dedication, but as a person who cannot commit to that fully, it's very hard to keep up with that sort of lifestyle, and it takes a lot of self-discipline and motivation to get to that point. Now, for myself, I have kind of gone through a lot of stages in my life where I picked up the weight, lost it all again, picked up the weight, lost it all again. In a sense, I feel like that is pretty normal. You know, we all go through it. Even the best fitness athletes go through that as well. And you know, sometimes I feel like maybe I've just let myself go when I'm quite an extremist. So I would either like eat super healthy and go to the gym and be super dedicated and won't eat anything wrong, which is so wrong to say, but I won't eat like anything wrong, or I will be completely the opposite, like completely just lashing out in terms of sweets, chocolates, chips, and I want it all and I want it now, and I don't go to gym at all, and it's just like complete opposites. Now, for a lot of you who have followed me over the years, you know that I had a big transformation, which I did with Pharma Freak in 2019, 18 going into 19, and I lost, I think, about 12 kilograms or something in total. And you know, it's so funny saying this, but I was absolutely dedicated and also very driven and disciplined. At the same time, I was telling everyone, don't like get your mind right, like go to gym every day, no excuses, like it's a mindset. And I was eating my clean broccoli and clean fish, and I was just like going for it. But you know, when I got to the point where I reached my goal, it was so difficult for me to kind of maintain that lifestyle because I started hating broccoli, that I couldn't even look at it anymore. And I know a lot of you feel that way. and I couldn't eat that type of dry food anymore. And although I did pretty well in kind of maintaining it and just kind of staying more or less on the healthier side but not being too strict on myself, it was really difficult for me to get back to that point, because maybe that was like a really unrealistic image I set for myself. And something I like about the fitness industry is that it has changed a lot into finding the body for yourself that you are comfortable in, that you feel healthy in, that you feel confident in. It's not about just having the six packs and the scale being this light. It's about finding a medium where you can be happy, where you enjoy food, but you're also really comfortable in your own skin, if that makes sense. And okay, so let's talk about 2021 and picking up so much weight again and everything I went through. I think as humans, we all are currently facing something in our life. I think it's pretty normal for humans to constantly go through things. Like every single year we go through things, and I feel like 2021 was really such a hard year for me, because we had a lot of loss in our family. We lost Ivan, of course. Kev was here in the Netherlands and I was in South Africa for 7 months, which was really difficult. You know, it was a very difficult time where I felt extremely alone, and I would binge constantly, binge eat on takeaways, binge eat on sweets and chocolates and chips, and it was just like, it was really bad. At that time I didn't think anything of it. Like, it was just like, oh, I'm enjoying this now, you know. But mentally and physically I was really at a space where it was actually really unhealthy for me without me knowing. And then what I think made it also worse is that I got put on, I was on birth control. I started birth control. I wanted to insert an IUD and the doctor told me that I had a big cyst, and then birth control might help it at the same time, so I went on birth control, and I think that just made things so much worse. My personal experience on it has not been good. Like, I've always never been on birth control, and for those of you wondering, the pull and pray method has been our thing, because I know some of you are obviously curious. And Kev also didn't like the whole hormone thing story, so that was kind of always the conversation we had. But yeah, earlier this year I decided to go off it because I was extremely depressed, and I'm not a person that suffers from anxiety or depression at all. Like, I rarely do. And going through that depression was just like such an eye-opener for the things that people go through and have to deal with on a daily basis. And for me, knowing that there was something I could do about it, I had to just leave the pill. There's a lot of talk around the pill on how it like also makes you pick up weight. Apart from depression, it also makes you pick up weight quite heavily. Now, I know for a lot of people they might not have experienced the same thing with the pill, but for me personally it was depression and also extreme weight gain at a point where we joined the gym in February and I just couldn't lose the weight at all. Obviously I was depressed, as I mentioned, and I just decided to go off the pill, and I was really still struggling to lose weight. And then I think I was still in my binge eating habits, and what happened was I saw this post on Instagram where this girl spoke about your relationship with food. Now, we know there's a lot of content out there with either like super body positivity, which I'm not always 100% a fan of, because I feel sometimes really people put this image out there that they are so confident and they're so into their bodies, but sometimes even them, they struggle where they want to lose weight or they don't feel confident about themselves. And that is okay, because that is what us as humans are. You're not always gonna love your body. Of course, yes, body positivity is important, but you're not always gonna be at a point where you're gonna be completely confident and happy in your own skin. It's just as humans, it's okay to go through things like that. And then of course you have the diet culture things and the diet culture talks, which actually scares you, because now you feel like, oh, I don't want to follow any diet because just now like I fall trapped to diet culture. And then it's just about finding that medium, I guess, which is sometimes difficult. And I saw this page on Instagram, I can't even remember the name, but this lady was a food coach, and I was like, a food coach? Like, what is that? And she was talking about binge eating and problems people face with binge eating, and she also offered like services for people to like have online consultations with her and that sort of thing. And then I messaged her, she's from America, but she had no space, and she said, oh, I can partake in this group thing that she does, but I wanted more like a one-on-one thing, because a lot of the stuff she was mentioning was like, I was like, oh my word, this is me. And that is when the realization came that I struggle with binge eating, and I have my whole life, because when something happens in my life, I just like go to food, and it's just like it has no end, especially with sweet things. And I realized that I had a problem, and I really had to try and work through this. So then I started searching for a coach that I could work with, and this is when I found Sabrina online, which has been the greatest thing ever. She is a Dutch fitness coach, and I've worked with many coaches in the past, and I also know that there's so many people who sell diets, sell workout programs, and but it's kind of when it comes to being on hand, they're not always available. With Sabrina, something I loved about her is that, first of all, she tailored my food in a way for me that kind of matched what I like and what I didn't like. And then also it was amazing, but we'll get to that part now. Also with the exercise program, she worked out a 4 days a week program for me, and sometimes I only even went to gym like 3 times a week, but it was still pretty effective. And every week we would have one-on-one like not consultation sessions, but like check-in sessions where I'll talk about things I've been struggling with, and she'll give me some advice or motivation. And whenever I had a binge eating session come up, I'll share that with her, and she would always give me homework to go back and kind of, you know, in this way we kind of started identifying the root cause for my binge eating habits and how we had to overcome that. Now, just to share with you, whenever something bad happened in my life, or something would trigger that, it was always something that happened to me, and then I would run straight and just start binge eating and just completely be thrown off track. So it was really important for us to overcome that, and I did a lot of like homework sessions, that's like thinking sessions, and talking about it, typing things out, and she would go through them. And she was just extremely hands-on, which is great, because you really, if you're going through a journey like this, I think it's really important to have someone with you who also understands what you're going through. And Sabrina has also had her own struggles with eating disorders in the past, and that is why you can really see that she has a passion for helping people. So she has just been great to work with, and eventually I started overcoming the binge eating triggers by doing things other than grabbing food. I started noticing things like this when it would happen. I would run to food, so I would be more attentive on these things happening for me not to run to food and completely throw my progress off track. So I started more like doing other things like drawing, or maybe taking a hot shower, or going for a walk, when things like this would happen, to kind of prevent me from falling back into a binge eating habit. So that was absolutely a great win for me. So with regards to food, what we did was we started off with a calorie count. So mine was about 1,600 calories a day, which is actually a lot. A lot of strict diets are 1,000 to 1,200 calories, where you can barely enjoy your food. And what I really loved about what she did was we have this app called Vital, and she had me on there with my goals and all the food I liked and the recipes, and I could kind of change them around. But everything was such good food, you guys, like, and I was still losing weight, which was just like the best thing ever, because I'm a real foodie, and I know a lot of people are real foodies as well. And I think it's so important to enjoy food at the same time. You know, you want to be happy while you're eating a food and not be like, meh, this food is like meh, you know what I mean? Later on, I told her, listen, like, this food is too much, like, my plate is this full. I cannot believe I'm feeling this full, because I literally cannot finish all my food in one day. And I wasn't eating 8 times a day like most coaches let you eat, or most diets want you to eat. I was eating 3 meals a day, and if I was still hungry, I had a snack in between, which was just much more convenient. Now, of course, I'm not saying that you all have to work with Sabrina in order to do the same that I've done, but there are a lot of food apps out there that you can kind of use as well to track your calories. That's also got some recipes. I will link a few for you guys in the comment section or in the description bar, of just a few apps that you can kind of get some recipes on. But obviously working with a coach helps, because they also know the micros and the macros and the proteins and all of those things, which I don't 100% understand that much, because when it comes to eating pizza, you can eat 1 pizza every day and still be under your calories, but it's not really nutritional food. It's not hitting your macros, micros, no. And that is what a lot of people sometimes don't get. But yeah, the food was just good, and even up until this day, I use a lot of those recipes that I can remember from to actually cook my food at this moment, because you learn a lot of like healthy ways of doing that. For supplements, of course, you guys know that I really loved Pharma Freak, and they reached out to me and they sent me products all the way from South Africa, which was just insane how kind they are. They are just one of the best brands I've ever worked with, and they sent us a whole box of things. So I mainly used 2 supplements. The one is the Ripped Freak, which is the fat burner. Now you get the Ripped Freak, the normal one, the yellow one, and you get the Ripped Freak 2.0. Ripped Freak 2.0 actually has an ingredient that helps you target belly fat, which is great, because with my pill and weight gain, I had a lot of belly fat that was kind of really stubborn and sitting in there. And I think something that I feel is really important to mention is that it's not a magic pill. Like, I remember even the previous year when I went through the binge eating and not exercising, and then I was still using Pharma Freak, but I saw no results of it because I wasn't putting in some work myself. So it's really important to remember that it's not a magic pill. But if you are watching, like, you know, like, not counting calories, because counting calories sounds so like diet culture-y, but if you are like checking those things and you try and be active, even if it's just by getting 10k steps in on your watch a day, or, you know, hitting certain kind of targets, like even just going to the gym 3 times a week, you know, you will see the benefits of it. Now, to kind of sum it up in a way that you would understand, is what Pharma Freak does is it helps you burn calories. So at the end of the day, your body burns a certain amount of calories every day, and in order to lose weight, you have to be in calorie deficit. So that means that the amount of calories you burn a day should be more than the amount of calories you consume a day in food, drinks, sauces, spices, snacks, everything that goes into your mouth. It has to be lower than the calories you use every day. So when you exercise, you obviously burn more calories, and taking a fat burner as well also kind of increases your calorie burn at the same time, just to explain it in an easy way.
Now, I had to pause the video here because what I want to tell you guys is extremely important, and I forgot to mention it here. I often get inboxes from people saying, oh, people say if you leave the fat burner, you pick up all the weight again. Now, everything comes down to the calorie deficit I spoke about and explained earlier. Here's a little image for you to pause and look at. But as long as you are in calorie deficit, you will not pick up weight. When you go over to calorie surplus, which is the mistake a lot of people make, is yes, they do leave the fat burner, but then they also end up maybe eating more takeaways, getting rid of healthy habits, not being as active anymore, and that will put you in surplus, which is going to cause you to pick up weight. Sometimes you can definitely leave the fat burner once you've hit your target goal with weight or anything like that, and you continue a healthy lifestyle. Staying in calorie deficit means that you won't pick up the weight back again, if that makes sense.
Now, of course, when your body is not used to this and you're taking Farmer Freak fat burn, or most fat burners for that case, for the very first time, you are going to feel it. I always tell people, like, you have to just push through the first week. Even just the first 3 days are quite hard. A lot of people would take it for 2 days or 1 day and then just not touch it because they felt so bad and nauseous. So here is my few tips on taking the Farmer Freak fat burner. Now, for 2.0, which I would definitely recommend, I think it has a little bit of a lower caffeine intake than caffeine ingredient than the normal yellow original Farmer Freak one. So it's always nice to maybe start with a 2.0, even though the box says that you should take 2 a day, 1 in the morning, 1 in the afternoon. I would just start with 1 a day. Up until this day, I still only use 1 a day. Take it in the morning after you've had your breakfast. And when I say breakfast, I don't mean like a little bit of yogurt. Like, have a good breakfast, like oats, or really something that's like quite heavy in your stomach, but a good healthy breakfast. Then take your fat burner, because taking your fat burner on an empty stomach is gonna make you feel pretty nauseous and you're gonna have the rickenplicks. Also, another tip you could do is, if you do have like a banana and a yogurt in the morning and take your fat burner and then go to gym straight away, it will help you get all of that energy out that your body is just trying to get used to. And then the other thing that's really important is to really drink a lot of water. You have to drink water, because otherwise you'll get headaches, you'll feel nauseous, and those are kind of the main tips to kind of start off with a fat burner. Now, it will take about 3 to 5 days for your body to adjust to this fat burner, and once that has happened, you can get to a point where you can take the fat burner on an empty stomach. But as soon as you don't feel well, it's always good to maybe eat something with your fat burner, because yeah, it's something new with your body. It's just something that you have to get used to. And after a week, I'd say you won't even feel like the heart palpitations or anything like that, but you'll have this good energy which won't make you crash. A lot of energy burners, fat burners, will like give you this high and then you crash. And with Farmer Freak's fat burner, I really find like I do not experience that at all. At this moment, I do not feel it anymore, but I could see it in the results at gym. So I hope that really clears up just how to use the product and how to just like push through it. I know those first few days are hard, but just like make sure you eat well, make sure you drink lots of water, and after 3 days, I promise you, you will feel so much better. So the other supplement which I also want to talk about is the estrotherapy. Now, estrotherapy, what it basically does is, obviously you can use it when you are on the pill as well. It won't affect the pill at all, but at the same time, it's a little bit of a contradiction. Yeah, that word. Because what estrotherapy also does is it kind of helps balances your good hormones. And being on the pill, you will still have some effects to it. Like what it does in terms of good hormones, it's gonna help you grow your hair and nails, for example, have a better mood, not struggle as much with PMS, regulate your periods, help with mood swings. I mentioned PMS, which is kind of mood swings, but it also helps your hormone levels, that helps fasten your metabolism so you burn fat better. Just to kind of sum it up in a way that's easy to understand for you guys. I hope that makes sense. But obviously, not being on the pill and using estrotherapy, you get the best benefits. And once I started using, like, my weight loss were quite like slow and steady, but once I started using Pharma Freak, Rip Freak and Rip Fem's estrotherapy, I started seeing such a big result immediately. It was like my hormones was busy balancing out, and like everything started doing great. Like my nails started growing nicely and my skin started looking better, and I was like losing weight faster and still putting in the work. So that's also an extra supplement that I would highly recommend for anyone who's struggling with irregular periods, bad mood swings, and just kind of speeding up your metabolism. Next, I want to talk about gym. Now, I have always been in the gym and I always liked the machines and the weights and that sort of thing, but some of the stuff were completely out of my comfort zone. And when I talk about that, I am actually directly relating to anything with a barbell. Anything with a barbell used to freak me out. It was just so out of my comfort zone. Squats with barbells, deadlifts, hip thrusts, those sort of things, I would never go close to it because it was extremely intimidating. Like, people in the gym seem like they know what they're doing, and it's hard getting out of your comfort zone. I told Sabrina, listen, I don't want to do these things. And she said, you know what, I'm gonna push you out of your comfort zone. I want you to do them because you will see amazing results. And oh my word, like, I couldn't believe the results it gave me. It made my booty round and it made it so tight. It's like literally the best thing, and I feel like every girl should try it. And you know what, something Christy Taylor constantly says, the owner of Honor Active and Evolve You, she's a fitness influencer, she always says that your form is always above weights. So even if you go to the gym and you only start squatting with just the bar, always make sure that your form is impeccable before adding any more weights. And at first I felt embarrassed just like doing things with a bar, and then had like little Oreos on there, which is just like 5Ks. It's not very heavy, but I already started seeing results, and I already started seeing my strength just become so much, like I became so much stronger and I could add more weight. But I always focused on my form and doing all my sets correctly instead of looking fancy with adding a lot of weights. And at the end of the day, this is your journey and this is what you want to achieve, and it's important to focus on you. And it was insane because when I started doing it and I started becoming more comfortable with deadlifts and really watching a lot of videos online with how to have your form with deadlifts and things, I started seeing so much results, and I actually started loving it a lot because I was eating so much and I was always full, and I was training and really enjoying the weightlifting and burning so many calories just with weightlifting. I quite enjoyed it, and eventually I got to a point where I did Zumba on Mondays, and then for the other 3 days I will do my weight training. So I wasn't in gym every single day, and if I was in gym, it was for an hour or less, nothing more. And you can still have effective results by doing that. Now let's talk about the progress. Obviously I showed slow progress, and I was okay with it because I didn't want it to be like a strict diet where it's like 3 months and then it's over. I wanted it to become a routine for me, and I feel like that is really important if you want to also lose weight but become just a healthier version of yourself which you are comfortable and happy in. And I lost 8 kilograms in total, so I weighed just over 64, which was a comfortable weight for me. When I finished my fitness journey with Farmer Freak before, I weighed 59, and I look at photos and I'm like, wow, I was so skinny, I was so tiny. I still have clothes from when I was that tiny that I ended up throwing away this year, because I just decided that was not a realistic normal place for my body to be at. 64 is something I'm pretty happy with. I'm not super skinny, but I feel comfortable in my clothes. This is just my happy medium where I can enjoy food and all of that. I also lost quite a few centimeters, which I'll just have to put on screen for you guys. I have to check that. But you know what the thing is that's the most important for me is the fact that I gained so much mental strength because I overcame binge eating. And when we went to South Africa, I was quite terrified of going back and like having all this food and great things, but I told myself that I also don't want to live that life where I'm going to be terrified of picking up weight or that sort of thing. I want to just continue having this sort of healthier lifestyle and just being happy with where I am and comfortable in my skin. I think that was always the thing for me, being comfortable in my own skin. And we all have that sort of happy medium where we want to be at, where we want to feel comfortable in our clothes, where we want to feel confident at. And not everyone's vision or image of that in their mind is the same, and that is why it's absolutely okay to have a goal and sort of a way or a happy medium where you see yourself meet yourself. Okay, I'm rambling, but I guess you know what I mean. I also learned to be kind to myself. Like now I don't have a six-pack. Like I had a bit of a six-pack back then, but now I don't have it, and I'm actually okay with it. Like I still have a little bit of belly fat, but it's okay. Then booty, she's thick, I'm happy with that, you know. And that feeling is something that it's just so amazing, having that contentness where you still enjoy life, and on weekends we still kind of, you know, drink drinks and have nice food and have nice treats and that sort of thing. And I have definitely overcome my binge eating habits, because I literally have like M&Ms and chocolates right here that's been standing there for weeks. It's just kind of little treats when somebody comes to visit or Kev wants a treat. And usually I could never keep chocolates, sweets or chips in the house, because I would finish it in one day or in 2 days. When as now our drawers are kind of filled with nice stuff, and I don't feel the need to like jump into it and just finish it all. So that has been a really great victory for me. So something Sabrina told me when I stopped working with her was to set a new goal. Like it's really important to set a new goal. And for myself, these past few weeks, obviously moving to a new house, we haven't been going to gym that often, but you know, it's okay. I obviously decided that 2023 is just a great way to start again and just kind of focus on a new goal. And something I really want to do is build my strength with squats, hip thrusts, lunges, like basically all the barbell sort of exercises. I really want to build my strength with that, and that's something I'm really going to focus on a lot. And I think it's always good to set a goal for yourself, because with working with her, my goal was first of all to fit into the clothes I had, because I had these clothes that I brought over and I didn't fit into them. So it was not really, the main focus wasn't really losing weight. It was just about fitting into the clothes and finding happiness within myself where I don't fall into binge eating habits. And that was really good for me, I'd say. So now I have a new goal that I have to work towards, and I don't know, maybe I'll work with Sabrina again, because I really just love like that hands-on interaction that we had and the motivation that she also provided. And that's why I would highly recommend finding a coach and working with someone that you could actually, you know, have that sort of relationship with, somebody who's trustworthy and really has a passion for what they do. Now, if you want to start your new healthy journey within this new year, I know a lot of people always say you know, you shouldn't set New Year's resolutions and blah 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 blah. You know, everyone has an opinion. I personally love a new year because it just creates like this feeling of a clean slate and a new beginning. And who doesn't love new beginning? It's like you can literally try something new, do something different. And that's why I also want to try and motivate you to, if you decide to go through a bit of a healthy journey this coming year, that you will try and do it in a way that will mentally still keep you happy and not restrict yourself to still enjoying life, you know. So I do have a few apps that I want to recommend. First of all, the Evolve You app is the app by Chrissy Chola, the influencer I spoke about. Within this app, you pay a monthly subscription, but you can also choose a year subscription, and it really isn't that much. But for this app, it's kind of like your personal coach. Now within this app, you have so many different workouts to choose from, like workouts you can do at home, yoga things, stretching things, strong programs from beginner to expert. Like there are so many different programs that you can choose from, where you want to do them, all those sort of things. Then they've also got food recipes where they can calculate your calories and kind of help you with, you know, just making yummy food that tastes really good, and that helps you, you know, with your progress. So I would highly recommend that app if you cannot afford a coach, or if you don't want to work with a coach. That is kind of like the 2-in-1 app that you could use. MyFitnessPal is a very popular app. A lot of coaches recommend this to their people that they work with, because you can kind of count your calories. But with that said, obviously some people think just eating pizza every day and it's under your calories that you'll still see progress, which is not the case. But it's sometimes good to kind of just figure out if you are eating something different compared to the app, that you can kind of work out the calories and just see more or less where you're at. And then there's another app called Eat This Much. Eat This Much has also got a free version where they give you lots of different healthy food recipes. You can pay for a fuller version where you can plan ahead and it will do your shopping list for you, and it just works out a lot of recipes for you to eat. How many times a day you want to eat, you can put that in there and you'll get some food options which you can also follow. And then of course I have my Walk with Kandy page, which I know I have to upload more exercises, but some of you have messaged me and told me that you really love my workouts, and I definitely want to focus on doing more of that, just because I have a passion for it, and it's just a good way to get your body moving. If you're at home, you don't feel like going to gym, you're feeling self-conscious about yourself or not in a good mood, these workouts are just great because you get to move your body, burn some calories, and just have some fun at the same time. I know that was probably not a very short video, but I do believe that it was quite informative, and I hope that my story also inspires you. And I know that probably my mindset or the way I think about things now will still change in the coming years, because fitness also keeps evolving and changing. But at the end of the day, like I said, it's really finding a medium where you're happy and comfortable with yourself. And I want to say goodbye with this thought that it's really important to be kind to ourselves and not break ourselves down, because so often we would say, oh, I'm so ugly, or I'm fat, or that's things we just say to ourselves. And the very first step I would say that you have to take is really notice things like that. Really notice when you are saying these really bad things towards yourself, and start looking at the things that you love about yourself and giving yourself those compliments, because that's gonna also boost your self-esteem to take the next step within your healthy growing phase, if that makes sense. So I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you have any more questions, you're more than welcome to leave a comment down below so we can answer them, and everyone else can also see those questions and answers. It might also help others. I just want to thank you for watching this whole video, and as always, until my next video, stay sweet. I'll talk to you soon. Bye.